Hello and welcome back to the next video. It's the next day now and we are gonna measure out the frets again and recut them, because if you remember the old neck and the way it looked, the frets were a little bit slanted. And the first thing we're gonna do is we are gonna establish a center line, and the way I'm gonna do it is I'm gonna measure at the first and last fret, find the middle in between, and then draw a line to create a center line. So I'm just quickly gonna do that because you don't need to see me draw a line, or at least I don't think you need to. And then we are just gonna measure out the frets, and I'm gonna show you how I do it. I have this tool from Crimson Guitars that lets me do it real quickly. You don't need that tool. If you don't have it, you can look up the measurements online, but it's a special kind of ruler, lets you do things fairly quickly. And this is one of those things that I feel is an okay sort of thing to buy, because it makes something that can take a lot of time, because you need to measure and remeasure and measure again a bunch of times to make sure you're doing it correctly. This saves you a lot of time because it's a ruler. All the frets are already marked out. So yeah, if you're gonna buy something from Crimson Guitar, it should be that ruler. Okay, so here's the neck right now, and as you can see, I forgot to tell you that I put masking tape all over it, but maybe you could see that in the first clip. But anyway, and I've drawn the center line, and some of you might have keen eyes and see that they're not correctly lining up with the middle of the dots, at least not all the time. But I trust my own center line more than I trust the dots, because there's nothing that says that they are actually in the middle. Especially since nothing else on this neck has, been the way it's supposed to be. Why would that be? But now, to double check things, I'll use my calyps and I'll just measure to the center line on one side, like so, and then flip it over to the other side and measure it. And I'll do that, not at every fret, but every here and there, to just hold it up there, push it and flip it over and check it. And I'll do a little bit more on the camera, but I'll just show you. So I put it there and I push it up and I flip it over and I check it. And I can see that everything looks the way it's supposed to look and nothing is weird and strange. My center line has split the neck evenly into two rows. So now we can measure out the frets. Here is my Crimson Guitar fret ruler. I hope you can see it. But basically it's just a metal, it's a piece of metal. You can make one of these super easily. Like if you really don't want to buy it. To me it's like, it was a nice investment to make something that can take a lot of time go faster. And it has four actually scale lengths on it, so it's a ruler of 4. It has a PRS and a Fender and a Gibson, and then it has something else that I don't actually know what it is. I think it's just a smaller one, to be like, if you want to build something that is even smaller than Gibson. Shorter is what I mean, not smaller. What the hell, come on. Anyway, we're gonna use the Fender one, so let's just jump into it. Okay, good. So this is what I've done. It might be hard to see, and if it is, I'm sorry, but it's difficult to find the right angles to film things in where you can see everything. The center line here, I've matched this up to the center line, and it's held down with double-sided tape. I put a piece of tape here because one thing that I don't like about using this is that things can go too fast, which is not obviously not a fault of the tool. It's force of habit of using something. But anyway, what that means is that I put a piece of masking tape on and I write what scale it is I'm going to use, which is the 25.5, and then I make an arrow pointing towards the scale, so that I don't accidentally tape down the wrong thing and mess things up. I've done that before and then wondered why things aren't working, and then I've had to switch out the neck for something else and use that neck for something else. you know, because it's like, it's the wrong scale for the wrong body. You know, that's the sort of thing that can happen. It is put down to the center line, so the center line goes along here, and I've made sure that everything is exactly where it needs to be. The way these works is that the line here that is for the nut, which you can't really see, but it says nut here, it goes up against the inner cut of the slot for the nut. That's why it says nut. But you basically have two edges here. You know, the back edge, which is mostly to the headstock, and the inner, which is facing the fretboard. And you line it up with the one facing the fretboard. I have this little tiny block here of plexiglass, and it's perfectly square. I made sure of that. And I have this knife here. And I know that this is like custom tools, but this is super easy to make. You just need a piece of steel that you can sharpen one side into an angle. And I have two of these for depending on which hand I'm going to work with and which angle I'm cutting in. So you should make one that works for you. And if you're right-handed, you're going to have to flip everything that I'm doing around and mirror it. And if you're left-handed like me, you can work like I'm doing. So I have this edge here, and the edge is facing away from the block, so I'm putting the side next to it that is flat. I hope this makes sense. So now I can just line this up with the first mark of the fret, and I can make my first cut, and then I can move on to the next and third. And because this is facing the middle and it's perfectly centered, and this is perfectly square, I am cutting these and I am making everything perfect. So I just need to make sure that these cuts will line up perfectly, basically. And then when I take this off, I will have scored lines that are perfectly straight and perfectly squared up to the center line and in the perfect place. And I can just cut the rest of the way across the fretboard where this ruler has been taped down. Again, here you can see a close-up of the scored lines. Okay, so slight issue occurred because we have a tiny bit of wood underneath that is, you know, weird pieces of wood that aren't supposed to be there, and we're basically trying to recut on those. They want to guide things to be off-center again, and so I can't trace the line over the way I was going to do it, which was with a knife like this, because it guides the blade. It doesn't work. So what I have to do is I have to use this, and I have to line everything up perfectly, and then I have to use my old trusty fret saw that I made in one of my Guitar Builders life hacks. If you haven't watched all of those videos, you have something to do in the weekend. No, but seriously, this is a great tool because it has like a guideline for how deep to cut the frets and everything. I'm gonna have to use that. I'm gonna have to go in like this and line everything up and make sure that nothing is doing anything wrong, and just carefully like this go in and recut the frets. And it's gonna take a long time to do because of the mess that is underneath. At this point I'm actually considering maybe I should have just planed off the entire fretboard and replaced it with something else, because this is actually turning out to be a little bit of a hassle and a nuisance for me, and I don't like to have to spend a bunch of extra times doing something that feels silly. But anyway, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna try to do this. I'm gonna hopefully not have to re-saw and re-plug any of the old fret slots, because that would be very annoying. Because of all the issues I'm having, I need to establish the other half of the line again while I'm cutting it. So that's why I'm going back and forth. I'm having a lot of issues right here to make sure that everything works out great, because the blade is always being guided towards the old problem, which would mean that the upper part gets fixed where the thicker strings are, but the lower part where the thinner strings are, which I know this sounds maybe weird to you, but it's because that's the one facing away from me, gets messed up, and so I will get crooked frets everywhere. And that's why I have to do things the way I'm doing it right now, because nothing is really working for me right now. And it just goes to show that you should throw trash in the bin and not waste your time and effort on cheap, nasty crap. Sorry if that sounds mean-spirited, but I'm actually kind of getting angry right now. Okay, so all the slots have been caught down, and yeah, they're actually not 100% perfect because I had issues here and there. And yeah, I'm actually really angry right now, but I'm trying not to let it show. But yeah, this neck is more problem than it's worth. They are better than what they were when I got the neck. And what tiny little bit of issues I'm having, I hope I can maybe get out when I put the frets on and I filed them down and make them thinner on the side where the issue is. Anyway, that's the end of this video. In the next one, we're gonna put binding on this neck. And yeah, I'm gonna go take a break, do something else for a bit. So I don't know when we'll put binding on this one, but I definitely need a break because I feel myself getting angry. Whew. I would say that this is something that is, you know, you shouldn't do this if you're a beginner, because you get just as mad as I am. Now I'm gonna also take away all this tape, because obviously we don't need that anymore. And I'm gonna sand the fretboard, I think, because I have so many failed little marks on it, which hopefully will disappear, but if they don't, yeah. Anyway, if you're new here, I'm not always as mad as I am right now, but anyway, yeah, if you're new here, please press the like and subscribe button, because at least that would make me happy, you know, that something good came out of this. And yeah, yeah, like and subscribe if you want to. And I'll see you in another video where things are going smoothly and I'm happy and things are not like this, because this neck is making me sad. Hopefully it will turn out awesome once I'm done with it. But until next time, stay awesome and cool, and go and play video games or watch a cool movie, listen to some awesome music, do something else, because this is not a day to be in the shop building something. Or maybe you're having a really good day. If you are, leave a comment below telling me that you're having a good day, so that I know at least someone is having a good day.